good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whichever part of the globe you are. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 23rd day of August 2023. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Share the live. Let them know that we are ready and raring to go. My colleague is already in the studio. He's waiting to join us. So share the live. He had some issues earlier, but the issues have been resolved and we are ready and raring to go. We have so much to tell you this morning, so much to tell you. And we're going to make a start in a short while, but share the live. And we have to give um, all the opportunity to join. Everybody, those who come as critics, those who come as amphibians, those who come as Volkswagenists, all we giving everyone the opportunity to join because we have information, we have teachings to do. So we are not going to be distracted. They have been trying to distract us. We are not going to be distracted. We are bigger than that. We are better than that. You are bigger than that, and you are better than that. So we are going to give you the information today. We are going to talk the thing, as they say. So share the life, share the life. Let's give praise and thanks to the Almighty for being in the land of the living. It's a privilege to be here this morning to share the good word with you. Not only the word of the Lord, my colleague would always say that we're doing God's work. We are doing God's work. And therefore, it is important for us to tell you the truth, tell you what is going on. They're hiding a lot of stuff. And, as I have always said, when you speak the truth, you don't have to remember what you said. It is the truth. It is there, first and foremost in your mind. You know what it is. So that is what we're going to do. We are going to continue to bring the information to you. And then, we know that you are very intelligent people. So you're going to be able to analyze for yourself and to determine whether what we are saying makes sense to you. So yes, we are here and we're going to give you it. As I give praise and thanks, this is the day that the Lord has made and we have to rejoice and be glad in it. The schoolyard was full this morning, schoolyard, full. When we went live, people started to pour in into the classroom. And I encouraging you again, as I've been doing, to go to the YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the page on Facebook so that you're going to be notified whenever we go live. What has happened in the past 2 weeks, let me remind you that we have been making some short clips of subjects that may be of interest to you. So even though the program runs for 2 hours, maybe sometime a little longer, sometime a little less, what we have been doing, we have been making excerpts and posting them on the YouTube. And I noted that has become very, very popular. I posted something relating to the powers of arrest, the police powers of arrest a few days ago, and it has gone viral. Everybody wants to know what it is, and they have been commenting. So we will continue to do that. Now, the only way you can know when those posts are made is if you subscribe to the channel, because outside of the regular Wednesday 11 o'clock, when you will get the notification, once we do this random posting, and they are random because I don't have a schedule for this posting. But once they are posted, once you subscribe to the channel, you will immediately get a notification that something has been posted and speaking out, and then you can go and look at it in your own time. So yeah, share the word, share the light. Let them know that we are ready and raring to go. As I've said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's praise the Lord for being in the land of the living. It is not always, well, it's a privilege to be in the land of the living. I know the roll call this morning is going to be very long. So, and as people have said, roll call is important. So let me start the roll call immediately, and then we're going to dive straight into the program. And you know how it goes. And let me remind you that once the program is scheduled, if you are a subscriber on YouTube, you will get the notification that the program is scheduled, and then you can go and sign in. These are the people in the schoolyard. You can enter the schoolyard immediately. If you're on Facebook, you have to wait until we go live at 11 o'clock before you can get on. So the first person, as you will see there, Maureen. Then we had Matthew. I'm running it through. Vernon came in. Vibort is here very early, a regular, very early. BV Man, you have a BV Man Ezekiah. That is a famous name back in my days at school. By Ezekiah was a famous man in BV. Then we had Joan was here. Patricia, a regular. Patricia, a regular. Patricia G. And she know what the last G is for. Wayne from the UK is here every week. Wayne don't miss out. Then we had David. David came in and he said that he's from, and this is interesting because David is from Olive Creek Region 7. That's in the Bartica region, Region 7. So in Olive Creek, you get Wi-Fi and he's able to tune in to Speaking Out. Welcome, David. Then we had Ron. Then Sean, ex-sergeant, is here very early. Evelina was here. Brian, Sydney, Orin, the one, Floyd, and people putting their numbers. This is good. I want to see the ex-policemen, and well, you can't put the serving policemen can't put your number. You don't get trouble because they prohibit you from watching this program. But the ex-policemen put the number and be proud of your badge and your course and all of that. Daniel, he has a number there too. Winston from California. Pauline, Jason, Jakey, welcome Jakey. Jakey, for the first time you put your number, man. 14929, proud 14929, Jakey. Then Como, 8218, Como is here as well. Then we have 8941, Alan is in the house. Patricia is here. John is from reporting a class very early. Then we have Colin, man from Queens is here. Schwartzy is here as well, 10025, even though you don't put it. I know it well. Kevin is here. Tessa is here with us. Philip is here. Philippa is here. Cecile is here. Isabella, not a regular. Barbara B, the original black man. I thought I was the original black man, but maybe we are from the same tribe. Original black man is here. Aileen is here. Lucius is here this morning, always in class. Felicia is here as well. Jacko, boy, in Corriverton, you're in your hometown. Jacko says he's in his hometown. Hope you enjoy. Be safe. Then we have Winston, John in class. Princess is she always gives her number 6123 from Lama Springs, I think it is. Monica Vibert from the East Bank. Francis said from a man from Melanie. Carl, my squad mate from Arizona. And Francis came back to say that he noticed the divisional commander, Ramana is the divisional. Yes, Francis, that is so. That's it. We're going to talk about it a little later. Then we had Kerry in class. Leslie Ben. Is this the same Leslie that I know? Old TSU man. What we used to call the red man from TSU. Let me know. Hit me up and let me know, Leslie, if this is you. Then we have Everett. Everett is in Texas. Charlene, welcome, Charlene. Anthony, welcome, Anthony. Welcome. Then we have Stian, Melissa, Jean, my squaddy Doreen, 349. Court, how did Domino by? Y'all win the Domino. I know you were on a world championship there. Hope y'all did well. And then we had Sandra. Speaking Truth to Power was here next. Another squad mate of mine, Sheila, is in the house. Keith is here. Queenie, West Coast Bobbies, I know is here. Raul is in the house. Courtney came in. Gordon. Now Gordon here, look at Gordon. Gordon number was 6659 from course 19. And he's saying January 1961. Oh my, enjoy. Then we had Francis is in class. Then we have Pito, 8152. Pito is speaking about the Majesty. I will touch on that a little later. Shamlin Brawa from the British Virgin Islands. Bonita is in the house. John Knight, a regular, is here. Paul, I missed you a few weeks. Welcome, Paul, welcome. David, Chilo is in the class. And David says, go after David. David says he's ready like Freddy. Hope it's not that Freddy. Ulrich, welcome. Rohan Jahawar, 12863. Welcome, Rohan. Then we had Don checking in. And then who we had next? We had Earl we had Shaniza, then we had Bert, Chisel Chipper 68 was in class. Then we had Yvonne, Hazel, Evelyn, Corinne, Oren from the UK, my an ex-squadmate of mine, Yatson from Canada, Family Music, Denise, Heather, regular, she says a little late. BX is in the house. BX from Newark, New Jersey is in the house. Then when we went live, the first man to come in from Facebook was Raul. Then we had Anne, we had Rashley, we had Joyce. As I said, we're gonna recognize some people a little later, but let me make a start. Let me bring it. Let me before I bring in my colleague, I just want to make a few brief announcements. You know, as I said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. It was with the deepest regret we have to announce the passing of retired woman Superintendent Lynette Carter. Lynette W114 was her regulation number. She passed away on the Sunday, the 20th of August. I understand that she wasn't enjoying, she was sick for a while. But you know, Lynette is a former commander, police commander of what was D Division then, which is now Regional Division 3. She was also a commander of G Division, which is now Regional Division 2. And she held some senior command positions. And she was a trailblazer, you know. Lynette was one of the persons who very early went to university and qualified herself, so a graduate from university. So Lynette passed recently. And then we had the passing of veteran trade unionist Norman Semple, Bobby Shun. I remember Norman when I was a commander there in B Division. We went to the same church, Mission Chapel, and he always had some nuggets to share. We had a very good relationship. Norman Semple, I understand that he passed, and he got a national award, CCH, and he passed on August the 17th, his last Friday, at the ripe age of 95. So I want to take this opportunity to extend condolences to the relatives, friends, and others associated with the deceased persons. And then on a happier note, I want to, today is a very good friend of mine, Morty Mamingo. Morty, happy birthday to you, Morty. I wish you all the best and hope you enjoy. You know, Morty was a former regional chairman of region number 10, that is Linden. And even before that, he was a senior man in the Guy Mine Constabulary. That is where we got to know each other in that constabulary. So Morty is celebrating a birthday today. And then we have some belated greetings. Retired Assistant Commissioner, my friend Nolan. Nolan Hendrick celebrated his birthday on the 20th, well, yesterday, I think it was, 22nd. And then we also had retired Detective Senior Superintendent, another good friend, Philip Armstrong. Philip Armstrong celebrated a birthday recently. Philip, we got catch up by. Then I was advised that retired Superintendent Dempsey Jarvis, the older police remember Jarvis from the band. He was a member of the band. He was the deputy there to Mr. Boville. He celebrated a birthday recently. And then we also had, and I see her on the live, we have recently celebrated her birthday is a woman, retired woman superintendent, Audrey Small. Audrey, I see you on the live. So happy birthday to all those persons, either belated or in the case of Morty, he is celebrating his birthday today. But let me bring in CC, and then we're going to move on. CC, welcome, CC.
Thank you. And always happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. And my sympathy to the relatives of Lynette. I know her well. We had good times working with Commissioner Larry Lewis, and know the synergy was there. And she and my wife from the same place in Leg One. And also Mr. Semple, we had fairly good relations when I was a commander. So that's what I want to say right now.
Yeah, you know, going back to Lynette, as I said, was a trailblazer, you know. Lynette was a real trailblazer. In those days, I think like when Larry Lewis was commander, for female to have been given the command of G and the command of D, that was saying quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think before her, you might have had Elaine Harper as a divisional commander. and I think Joy Cole may
Jai
have had
Cole.
some. You're
Yeah.
right. Command. Apart from those two women, I can't remember any other female in any senior command position in the division. So Lynette has passed on. And as I said, condolences to her relatives, friends. I think also she had a brother in the force. If you remember, CC used to be
Yeah.
at the transport workshop.
Construction section.
Transport, I think he was a transport. I think, yeah, I almost thought he was a transport man.
Yeah.
And he was a specialist in the repairs to these German trucks back in the day. I
Okay.
think he went to East Germany to train to repair those trucks. So condolences to all of those persons. And again, Audrey, um, belated birthday greetings to you. I see you indicated that you had a ball. I'm glad to know that. Now let's move on, Cece. Well, before we move on, let me tell you, for the cricketers, the CPL has started, and you see what happened in St. Lucia. Almost apart from one or two matches, rain at the final C. That is a short essay, Ulrich, Gavin, Jacko, and these boys know cricket. Aileen is on the live too. They say when the students were asked to write a short essay on cricket, Balgobin had the shortest essay, rain, no play. That is it, rain, no play. So you had persistent rain, and the matches were abandoned. I think the tournament resumes tonight in St. Kitts and Nevis. I think St. Kitts Patriot playing Talawa tonight. So yeah, well, Ulrich is reminding me that Miss Morrison, yeah, but that was after. Miss Morrison was the commander of D division, but that was long after Lynette. That was long after Lynette. Yeah, Everett. Yeah, I have spoken to the technical man. Even see Everett is making a comment here. People did make suggestion that in the advertisement, that clip with my picture, we should put Conway now as a genuine co-host. I have spoken to the technical people and they are going to do something. So thanks for that, Everett. But Cece, let me move on. Um, I noted with interest that the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Home Affairs, a long name, May Toussaint Jr. Thomas Maribor, she has been finally replaced after 4 months. This is a lady who was arrested in Miami by the Custom and Border Protection of the U.S. when she was in transit to China. Her phone was seized. She was, they say, handcuffed, wrapped up, kept in custody for about 3 hours, and then our visa was revoked. And she remained, she returned, and some stupid excuses. I can't understand what they were really saying. But she returned to the ministry and continued to work as a permanent secretary. So even though she kept a low profile, so when you had the route march and those things, she wasn't present, she was there working. I think last week now there was a reorganizing of the permanent secretaries, and let me check my note. The new permanent secretary for the Ministry of Home Affairs is one Andre Inchan Ali. Andre Inchan Ali. He was PS, Ministry of Housing and Water, and he is now the PS at the Ministry of Home Affairs. So finally, they have moved. And it's how the thing go. You move from one ministry as PS, she gone to the Ministry of Housing and Ministry of Labor, sorry. She's now at the Ministry of Labor. So, it's just a lateral move. That is what's going on. That is what goes on. For the friends, family, and favorite, a lateral move. A serious thing like that. Your PS is arrested, visa revoked, phone seized, and no doubt properly interrogated, and you just move or laterally. CC, what are your views on that?
Well, she has gone into labor. I hope she will be able to produce something. Or perhaps it might be like the elephant went into labor and gave birth to a mouse.
Well, let's see where that will go. And then we had, we got to make some comments on we had the murder some time ago of Dr. Olato Sam. I noted that the report is that a 22-year-old Joshua Martin Archer of Robert Road, Pleasance, East Coast, Demerara. I believe Robert Road is Sparnam. I am subject to correction. I was stationed as a young police at Sparnam for a long time. I think Robert Road is actually Sparnam, but they're reporting Robert Road, Pleasance, East Coast, Demerara, arrested on June 5 and charged with the murder. He appeared at the Sparnam Magistrate Court The matter adjourned to September the 26th for disclosure and statement. CC, disclosure and statement on the 26th. What are your views on that?
It's alarming. Normally, they would give you a little facts in terms of the person. You might hear that he confessed to it or some kind of thing. I don't know what kind of information they got, but maybe they don't have anything. That's why they can have disclosure so early.
Yeah, but it's alarming that in a murder case, you're going to have disclosure. The first after the person appears, um, and the charge is read. And for those people on the live, you don't have to, if it's a murder charge or if it's an indictable charge, you don't have to plead. So understand this. Once a charge is indictable, the information is sworn to by the rank, who is the informant, then you don't have to plead because the charge is indictable. So the charge would have been read to him. According to the news, he's remanded. And the next hearing is on the 26th of September. And they said that is for disclosure, meaning at that stage, the prosecution, that is the police, is supposed to hand over to the defense all the statements and basically all the evidence that they intend to use in this murder trial. That is what is we call breakneck speed. And I have a strong suspicion, let's follow this to see when the 26th comes, what will happen. Because to hand over, to have disclosure so soon it's unheard of. It's unheard of. And then I say it will be interesting to see what the evidence is because based on what is in the public domain, I don't think they recover any murder weapon. I don't know if they have any eyewitnesses. I don't know if the person has confessed. There's quick to say the person confessed to the murder. We haven't seen these things. So I don't know what evidence they have. So you're gonna be interested. It's gonna be interesting to see, and this thing should be followed very, very closely because here, what is the problem? The problem is that this now, according to the police stats, this is a murder solved. It's something is cleared up. So clearing up is easy. Let me understand this thing. Clearing up is easy because once you have a crime and you arrest a person, they have it as clear up, the crime solved. They're not concerned with down the road whether the matter is thrown out at the preliminary inquiry. They don't concern what happens down the road. They don't deal with convictions. They deal with arrest. And as you can rightly, any sensible person will tell you, that is easy. A murder committed or crime committed, you arrest the person, say, boop, it's solved. And then your figures show that it's solved. But if you are to follow up, then you're going to realize that really it is solved. And one of the travesty in something like this, if it is the wrong, because you hear the family members saying all kind of thing, proclaiming the innocence of this man. Anybody, I think that is perhaps in some cases to be expected. But if it is not the correct person, then you have the real criminal out there roaming. That is the travesty in a matter like this. That is the travesty. So I will hope that the police will do good work and make sure that they have the right person. And if they say they arrest this man, and this man is the person responsible for the death of Dr. Sam, or they have the evidence to bring a conviction. I am not too hopeful in that because we have seen cases where persons are arrested for murder. They spend 3-4 years in prison, perhaps even longer sometimes. And when it gets to the point of trial, the trial judge, remarking that there's never been any evidence in the case against the accused person. And even more worrying, the people from the Director of Public Prosecutions Chambers who are charged with prosecuting these matters accept and admit that there was never ever any evidence in this matter. So, my lord, so we got to watch this thing because a man charged for murder, you can go through a preliminary inquiry. The magistrate will inquire into it to determine whether a prima facie case has been made out. And if this matter is not thrown out, then this man is going to be in prison for 4 or 5 years before the matter finally comes up. So we hope it's the right person. Let me understand, because these amphibians and them, they come and say all sorts of things. We are not advocating for the guilty persons to go free. We are saying that the investigation must be properly done so that the correct person is arrested and placed before the court. And again, we're not saying here that this is not the correct man. We're saying that you have the evidence, you have to produce the evidence so that you can get a conviction. And I'm reminded about the statement of the Justice Whip from the CCJ, who not so long ago made the point that many cases in Guyana are thrown out at the preliminary inquiry, no case submission. So in other words, again, teaching, you go before the magistrate and the prosecutor presents the case that they have, all the witnesses, all the evidence. And what has happened at that stage, the courts have ruled repeatedly that there's no case for the defendant or the accused person to answer, the matter gone. So let's hope. CC, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm in agreement with you. Too many cases go along the drain at the no case submission. When the person said that's my case, defense counsel will say there's no case before my client to answer because A, B, or C, or sometimes just A. So they need to do proper investigation and make sure that they charge the correct person and make sure that they do the proper prosecution. And many times, as you mentioned, judge from the CCJ said, hey, the case will finish at no case submission. It ain't going further than there. So, and I can recall the crime chief saying, boasting 80% of the person of the murder cases persons were charged, but asked how many were convicted, and then you go down to the rock bottom.
Yeah, and another worrying thing about this whole system, and again, as I said, we like to teach. The police will do their investigation, and you collect statements, you get whatever exhibits you have, and so on, and then a report is sent to the director of public prosecution. A file is sent to the DPP with all the evidence and all the statements. The DPP is supposed to peruse that file and satisfy yourself that you have a case made out. Now, once that is done, then she will advise to charge. So you institute a charge of murder. As I said, the person appears before the magistrate. The charge is read. The person is told that they're not required to plead. And then at some time, you have a preliminary inquiry. So then all the evidence is presented before the magistrate. Now, if the magistrate rules that there is a prima facie case, then what happens? The magistrate will advise that there's a prima facie case. And those documents, the depositions and all those things are now sent to the director of public prosecutions. And then the director of public prosecutions will indict the person to stand trial at the High Court. So it's a long process. So I'm saying to having gone through all of that, police investigation, DPP peruse the file. It goes, there's a preliminary inquiry, right? Prima facie case is made out. The matter goes to the DPP for indictment. The DPP indicts the accused person. And then to hear at the trial, at the court trial, the judge is going to remark that there's no evidence in this matter. Something is definitely wrong. Something, how can it pass through all of those levels and be decided on at the end that you don't have evidence against the person? CC?
Uh, so true. And then the thing is, Paul, my experience with police as a divisional commander is that many times you have a report come to you, an excellent report, and then when you check the statements, there's nothing in the statements to back up the report, to back up the recommendation. So what I used to do as a commander, I used to start read the files from the back. I start check the statements was before I got to the report. And I learned that from a man named Compton Richardson, an attorney at law, when he was a police legal advisor. He said one time he get caught, he just read the police report, read the police report, and decided to recommend charge. And the statements doesn't have anything there. So you need to look at the statements to make sure that the ingredients, the elements of the charge are covered there.
And you must remember too, because when the matter goes before the court, and even the DPP, they don't look at the report. They are not going to look at the report. It's the statements from the various persons, because the report means nothing to the court. It's the various witnesses have to go give the evidence, be cross-examined and all of that. And so therefore, as you rightly pointed out, CC, some policemen can write a very good report, but the point is, do you have the statements to support that report that you are going to write? Because again, I say, it is the witnesses, those persons who have given statements are the ones who have to go into the witness box and to give their evidence. So, Yes, let me move on.
Yes.
And then I have here about these. Well, we talking about the murder, and then we had two over the week. We had the one where they say a man at Claybrick Road was fatally stabbed. 20, a 29-year-old Bharat Glendalal, Canal number one, some altercation. He claimed he had some altercation with the man. He cuffed the guy, and then they went away and they returned, and somebody stabbed him and killed him. See, there's a wanted bulletin now out for the suspect. And then we had one where it is reported that the Venezuelan woman confessed to murdering a man in Puruni Bagdam. Well, he's in the Gold Bush, Puruni Bagdam. So you had two murders, every week. You had two. And then we had these suspicious deaths. Suspicious deaths. The one that is making the round on social media is this young lady who is said Melinda Newinkirk. Um, she committed suicide. There, people have created some doubt as to exactly what happened. I saw the postmortem report on the postmortem examination, which says that she died from compression injury consistent with hanging, and that there were no marks of violence about the body. I also saw a letter from Member of Parliament Geeta Chandan Edmonds calling for an inquest to be held in this thing. And again, I have a note to say that sometimes the police are too quick to say suicide. They are too quick. And the thing with this one, I see people demonstrating and people saying, when I say people were there showing how it's almost impossible for a person to hang themselves with a bed sheet on a door and all of these type of things they're saying. But at the end of the day, whatever it is, it requires a proper investigation so that the truth can be revealed. Because I am aware from experience, I have seen cases where you don't have to hang yourself from the rafter. Person don't have to hang himself from the rafter. Prisoners have been known to hang themselves in lockup from grill work. The grill work is about 6-7 feet from the ground, and they get something tight around their neck, and they hang themselves from that height. So you don't have to necessarily be high up in the air to hang yourself. But the point is that you need to have proper investigation in light of all the statements that are being made. Should not write it off just like that and say suicide. Then we had the next one where a man, taxi driver missing, found in a clump of bushes at in suicide. And I think the postmortem done recently said that he died from he ingested poison. So again, and it brings us to the point with this high suicide rate, where Guyana remains, according to the latest stats that I saw, the country with the second highest suicide rate. Something is wrong. People are giving up hope on life. And Antoine, I know they had established hotlines and all these type of things, but it is still a worrying trend in a country with a small population. The last time I looked, about 840,000 persons. The amount of suicide you have. Mr. Conway, your comment on that?
Yeah, and quite rightly you said we're too quick to jump to the conclusion that it's suicide, you know. You need to do proper, meticulous, painstaking investigation, especially when persons are querying, you know, when there are concerns, public concerns that we need to do. I think the postmortem said it was consistent to hanging, but then somebody could hang you too, you know, and then they look like, oh, you hang yourself. I can remember a case, a very humorous case in Puerto Rico years ago, where a man hung himself with his belt at Puerto Rico lockups. And the sergeant was there. He said, oh, yo, we could let man go in the lockups and hang himself with the belt. Come, 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 come. And he loosed him down and they hung him with his pants, you know. So all kind of things could happen.
Well, yes, forensic rascality, you call it. Yeah, I see people commenting there that they're saying that the account given by the person, this man who is suspected to have had some relationship with this deceased person, doesn't add up. God is saying that you have video footage which contradicts the timing that he say that he was there. But these things call for proper investigation. It comes back to what we were saying, talking about credibility. You see, because the organization lacks credibility, whatever they say is people don't believe. People do not believe what they say because they are not deemed to be credible. And that is a big issue. That is why we have been emphasizing. You need to make sure that you're accurate. You need to make sure that you are credible. So when you come out with a statement, people will tend to accept what you are saying. Now, let me move on to the next issue. Um, we have here the Mr. Conway wrote a letter which was carried in the newspaper recently. When I gave the notification for the program today, I said we're going to talk about the management crisis in the Guyana Police Force. CC wrote a letter carried in Stabrook and Kaichur, and yesterday I think it was. And I think I'm going to invite him to give us a synopsis of the letter. CC, what this letter is all about that you wrote.
Let me put things in proper context. The police has no structured succession planning around who is going to take over from who, as the case may be. There's no real structured succession planning and even career development. But the letter is about the extension of Hicken as the acting commissioner of police. You may recall that on the 22nd of July, Hicken became 55 years old. And according to the Constitution, according to the rule that was in the Parliament, that at 55 you should demit office. Now, Hicken should have gone on the 1st of August. He should have gone no longer a policeman, should be a civilian. But sometime in August, early August, the president said that he had extended the service of acting commissioner Clifton Hicken. He extended the service for a date, maybe to be announced later, and another date. Now, the thing is that Hicken is a confirmed assistant commissioner of police, and acting his confirmed rank is an assistant commissioner, but he has been appointed to act as a commissioner. In terms of appointments for commissioners and deputy commissioner, the president will make that appointment after meaningful consultation with the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who would have consulted with other members of the force, and the leader of the opposition. And it talks about the meaningful consultation. And a lot of persons want to know what is meaningful consultation. And let me tell you what the Constitution says. I have it before me. It defines consultation or meaningful consultation means the person or entity responsible for seeking consultation shall A, identify the person or entities to be consulted and specify to them in writing the subject of consultation and an intended date for the decision on the subject of consultation. B, ensure that each person or entity to be consulted is afforded a reasonable opportunity to express a considered opinion on the subject of the consultation. And C, cause to be prepared and archive a written record of the consultation and circulate the decision to each of the person or entities consulted. So let me repeat. For the appointment of a commissioner of police or deputy commissioner of police, the president has got to consult with the leader of, has got meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and the chairman of the, or the chairperson of the Police Service Commission, who would have consulted with other members there. Unlike the position of Chancellor and Chief Justice, the president does not have to get agreement for him to make that decision. But the thing has been going on for some time. The Constitution talks about appointment of a commissioner and deputy commissioner, and the removal of office. At 55, according to Parliament, you should be go on your merry way. So, and the thing is that several persons before were extended, starting with Balaam Ragabir, Larry Lewis, Floyd McDonald, Henry Green, and Leroy Brummel. Whether or not those things were constitutional, I do not know. It is debatable. But in this case with Hicken is an acting commissioner of police. He's not a confirmed commissioner of police. I've searched the Constitution, and I haven't found any article in that Constitution talking about the extension of a commissioner of police. I checked the Public Service Commission rule, and I haven't seen any rule there. So remember, the point is that Hicken is an acting commissioner of police. He's not a confirmed commissioner of police. And then again, the Constitution is very silent in terms of extension of a commissioner of police, more so an acting commissioner of police. I think what they're doing, they're nibbling around the edges of the Constitution. Those things are what we say, like they're a forbidden fruit of the poisonous tree, that they need not to go down that drain. When you read, and I'm still to see the article or the rule in which the president extended Hicken. And Hicken was extended long after he became 55. After he became 55, then he was extended. And you can't extend something that has already passed. So the thing is that the president is not, as you mentioned last week, Paul, is not a sultan. The president is a creature of the Constitution. He has to abide with the Constitution. He cannot breach the Constitution, and according to the Constitution, the president could be removed from office for violation of the commission of the Constitution or any act of gross misconduct. So it's not that the president can do as he likes. The president has got to follow the Constitution. And according to my commissioner, my favorite commissioner, I used to say, when you're wrong, you open your chest and you take the blows and you say, mea culpa, mea culpa. So the thing is that the president is a creature of the Constitution. Although he has executive powers, he cannot breach the Constitution. He cannot breach the Constitution. He has got to bow down to the Constitution. And I think in this case, the president has breached the Constitution. I recall President David Granger, when he appointed that gentleman who died recently, Patterson, as chairman of the Elections Commission. The PPP took him to court, and the CCJ ruled that the president's action was unconstitutional, and the gentleman had to resign. I'm happy that R.B. Norton has indicated that sometime this week, and the week is midweek, I haven't heard or seen anything, that he will challenge it in court. This matter is crying out for judicial review. Even if it has to go all the way to the CCJ, and let it go there and let us have judicial review. And any breach of the public commission must be challenged. Paul, on behalf of us members of the Police Service Commission, you challenge the president's decision to suspend us as members of the Police Service Commission, and Judge Gino Pessoa ruled that the president was acted unconstitutional, that his action was illegal, null and void, and have no legal effect. So, unlike what people are saying, that the president is the supreme man, he's not no supreme man. The Constitution is supreme, and the president is a creature of the Constitution. I remember Desmond Hite and R.B. Norton, when Desmond Hite was the leader of the PNC, and R.B. Norton was the general secretary, and Hite said R.B. Norton wasn't keeping the shirt in his pants, and he got rid of him. And he said that R.B. Norton is a is a creature of the leader. He appointed him and he could get rid of him. So be it with the Constitution. The president is a creature of the Constitution and he cannot breach the Constitution. And further, I say not.
Well, just one correction that he cannot, he should not, because he has been doing that. As you rightly pointed out, I took a matter to court and was successful. They have appealed. I don't know when that is going to come up. But yeah, you are correct. And as I indicated last week, and let me repeat, that the president is a creature of the Constitution. He is not a king. He's not a sultan. And he is not a maharaja. So he has to follow the Constitution. And as you rightly pointed out, we have indications that this decision would be challenged. So let's see what the court will say. The worrying part that you are extending someone who, from all indication, is not qualified for the position and has not been performing well. You have crimes that are out of control, road accidents, and wait, nobody's going to be held accountable. It's not he committing the crime. We aren't saying he going and killing people. We aren't saying that he driving and killing people on the road. But when you hold certain positions, you are accountable. You are accountable for what goes on below you. So you have a situation and they come and they tell you about crime rates, and yeah, the crime rates are down. What lie? The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry issued a statement and they talk about that. And interestingly, it was only last week they had a meeting with the U.S. ambassador, and I have the release, a part of it here, a release from the GCCI, that is the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, said that the gathering spoke of how the local business environment and investment opportunities in Guyana are being affected by Guyana's security situation, particularly in light of the U.S. Department of State issuing a level 3 travel advisory against Guyana in July, warning its citizens to reconsider travel to Guyana due to crime. That is what the GCI said. And the release also said that the U.S. ambassador commended the GCCI on the recent statement issued earlier this month on the crime situation in Guyana, noting that it is important to hold the Guyana police force accountable in order to stimulate continuous improvement in the force. Lynch, that is the U.S. ambassador, also applauded the chamber for being proactive in data gathering and pushing for improvement in the country's security situation, given that a welcoming country is critical for investors. That is what the thing is saying. So again, they come and they tell you the thing is done. But people who are observing know that that is not so. They note that that is not so. And I have a slide to show you when they talk about serious crimes being done. They are talking about let me bring up the crime. Look it there. Look, people, see for yourself. See for yourself. These are the categories of serious crime that the Guyana Police Force report on. These are the categories. Let me bring in Mr. Conway so he can be part of this discussion. These are the categories of serious crime that the Guyana Police Force report on: murder, rape, burglary, larceny from the person, kidnapping, break and enter, and larceny. And then you would note there in red, there are 5 categories of robberies: robbery, robbery under arms where guns are used, robbery under arms where other instruments are used, robbery with violence, and robbery with aggravation. Those are the serious crimes that they're reporting. So when you hear they say serious crimes are done, those are the categories of crimes they are reporting on. And let me give you a next slide to tell you that these crimes, one moment please, that these crimes are not considered these crimes I'm going to show you now are not considered serious crimes. These crimes are not considered serious crimes. So let me run it through. Look at there. These are not considered because they are not reported. White collar crimes, including fraud, forgeries, embezzlement, money laundering, Ponzi scheme, etc. They are not reported on as serious crimes. You talk about manslaughter, not considered a serious crime. They don't report on that. And recently, the Starbuck News made the point that instead of reporting on murder, you should report on homicides, because homicides deal with the killing of a human being by a human being. So they're not reporting that. And then number three, possession, cultivating, and trafficking in marijuana. That almost every day you pick up the paper, you see people arrested and charged. Those statistics are not considered a serious crime. Cocaine, another thing every day, every other day, every week you pick up the paper, people charged with trafficking, possession and trafficking in cocaine, not included. And then you have unlawful possession of arms and ammunition. They're making statements, and we know people get old with firearms. I'm going to read about a statement that emanated from the ministry about this same firearm thing. That is not considered and reported on as a serious crime. Unlawful possession of arms and ammunition, not trafficking in person. People talking about it, even the international people. Felonious wounding. And here what we mean, imagine there's some altercation. And as we say in Guyana, a man chop up or a man juke up the next one. If he dies, they're gonna perhaps murder or manslaughter. If he does not die, felonious wounding, that is not considered a serious crime. That is not considered, and I have wounded with intent and all of that considered serious crime. Offenses under the Domestic Violence Act, and we know many of these things lead to murder and other serious offenses not considered. Arson, arson, so many fires you have, and the minister is making a statement which I'll read to you a little later, that you have a lot of fires and a lot of them are due to arson. That those are not reported as serious crime. Simple larceny, and I put in bracket when it says simple larceny, people tend to say really small things. Simple larceny can be indictable. In other words, based on the value of the property. So when a man thief your car or thief someone's car, no. That is not considered a serious crime. All of these trunking, and let me explain what we mean by trunking. You have people park the car, and you have some professionals go, they get instruments, they break into your car, carry away money, carry away electronic devices, carry away, not considered serious. They thief the whole car, not considered, not reporting on as serious. And I put cattle rustling here because it was last year, I think it was during the police presentation. One or more of the commanders reported that one of the serious problems in West Coast Borbies and in Rupunini and those places, cattle rustling, people thieving people cows and the cattle, not considered. Carjacking, carjacking not considered, um, not reported as a serious crime. Smuggling, drugs, gold, and we know a lot of reports on drug smuggling, gold smuggling, not reported. Discharging loaded firearm. Some are going to shoot the other man, the security guard in Eccles, licking shot or pelting corn, as they would say. Those things are not reporting. So we're saying that when you take all of these things into consideration, there are underreporting and ghosting the thing, right? But those of us who live in the country know that that what they're saying is not true because you live and you experience it, and not only the actual crime, but the fear of crime. Look what happened to Orlando Sam. The man went out to have a drink and to unwind, perhaps after a long day. Huh? He went out to have a drink, unwind after a long day. Stray bullet catchy. He's a dead man. Look what happened in West Rhineville. People go there with some altercation to evict a man from the resident. Um, Shots are fired indiscriminately. One man is dead. In Sophia, some altercation between two women. Shots are fired. Four persons are injured. So we're saying that, look, you got to make sure that this thing is properly done. And you know the worrying part, before I invite Mr. Conway to come in, you know what is the worrying part? I am saying that if you do not accept that there's a problem, there is no way you're going to be able to come up with solutions to fix the problem. And that is what is happening. They're not accepting that serious crimes, crimes on a whole, are on a are out of control. And if you do not admit that, then you're not going to put measures in place to deal with it. And that is the worrying part. The world of statistics reported Guyana, the seventh highest crime rate in the world, seventh highest in terms of per capita. So, as I say, you can fool some people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. People know what is going on. Mr. Conway?
Yeah, Paul, when you look at the stats that they consider serious crime, you highlighted it. 5 out of the 11 robbery. 5 out of 11 is robbery. And on the other hand, the list that you put up there, manslaughter is not a serious crime. Wounding is not a serious crime. That ain't so far the man going to shoot up all those other people, and that is not a serious crime. And then that the minister, well, you going to talk about the minister's statement where he's concerned. But the offense that he concerned, those are not classified as serious crimes. So I know why he's concerned, because they are not serious crime according to him. And they ghosting, they cutting the figures. They said, hey, don't put in this one gonna make we look bad. They say, cut the stats so we can look good. A lot of good, and they're hiding away crimes. Crimes, according to the standing order, should be reported, should be recorded in the police crime book. They're putting them in the occurrence book. They're putting them in the station diary. So when you're checking, you jump in the crime book and you check, but you're not going into the occurrence book. Like I remember when I was in my Coney 7464 detective, he was Constable Smith. Used to go in the occurrence book and let me see where you are hiding with any occurrence and any crime in this occurrence book. In the station diary, the other day, a man set a mattress on fire in a cell at Brickdam, and the police were proud to report that they made the recorded in the station diary. So you're setting a mattress on fire, which could have burned down the whole Brickdam police station, and even Brickdam police station burned down, that is not a serious crime. They're using the wrong analysis. They need to analyze things more properly, and not they're looking at percentage increase and decrease. You had 17 last year. This year you get 15. So you have a decrease, and they're proud of it. They need to do proper analysis. Look at trends. Look at pattern. Ask yourself, is this a series? Yeah? Where are the hot spots? Do proper analysis. The thing has got to be data driven. Based on the data, you utilize your human and other resources to deal with the situation. We call it a 3D approach. Data driven decisions, not percentage increase and percentage decrease. And then if you want to know how well you're doing, don't only look at the stats. Go to the communities. Go to the community. Don't go and all flavor the dance, cook up, store impact, bowling ball for president, score runs, and them kind of nonsense whatever they get on with. Go to the community and do proper research, do proper analysis, do citizen survey. The customers going to tell you how you're doing. That is stats alone. The customers, and then later you building relationship with them. But no, we had 19 last year. This year we get 15. So we're proud of it. No. And they must stop cutting the stats. Stop hiding away crime in occurrence book, hiding away crime in station diary, and sometimes now some not even recorded. And they need to relook at their list there. Come up with a proper list of what is considered serious crime.
Now you spoke about these dances and so on, and on the 14th of this month, Stabrook News had an editorial gunshot in Sophia, West Rhineville. And the last paragraph says, let me read what the last paragraph of that editorial said. It seems that entertainment has become a prime unit of policing, from cooking competitions to sports to singing contests. These things are not working and lowering the image. Let me read about. These things are not working and lowering the image of policing in the eyes of the public. Serious and credible policing is what will win the confidence of the public, not charity matches or bouts of boxing. The recent extension of the acting tenure of Mr. Ikin is a sign that President Ali is not yet ready to grapple with the substantive appointment to this very critical post. That act sends its own signal about the lack of seriousness surrounding policing and the continued erosion of law and order. That's Stabrook too, that's not me. And to come back to what you were saying, we talk about this purported extension, unlawful, unconstitutional, as we're saying it is. And let me tell you this, it goes right back to what we're saying about, you made the point about development and succession planning and all of that. Absent, and I'm saying here, based on my information, that the decision to keep the man squatting in the chair, I used to say the man who sits in the chair, but now it's the man who squats in the chair. The decision to keep the man who squats in the chair has caused a lot of disquiet among a lot of people, but they're frightened to talk. The situation is so toxic. The situation is so uncomfortable that they're taking it easy and sucking up, because many of them are threatened with removal from the force. They are threatened with all manner of things. I was threatened with removal, and a matter of fact, not only threatened, they made efforts to remove me. President Jagdeo and them, and I challenged it in court, and again they back down. I challenged it in back, but you have to have people who got to grow some spine. They got to grow some spine. We can't expect our law enforcement, our senior law enforcement officers at that to be spineless. If they are, what you expect? What type of leadership they're giving to the junior rounds? What type of leadership they're giving to the country? And they are the ones responsible for security, public security, and safety. And I go on to say here, right? Look, the examples of how dysfunctional the force is. We told you some time ago about a man in Linden, the Winter, Senior Superintendent Winter, proceeded on retirement leave. And there was nobody to take over from him. No one to take over. And this is not, I said leave, not leave, proceeded retirement, because he was paid in lieu of. So he worked all the day until when he sub-retired. And he was there for 2-3 days as a civilian running the division. And then they hurriedly took someone from Madja and sent him to relieve the civilian Winter. And then within a matter of a week, they removed the one who had just gone there from Madja, sent him to West Coast Bobbies. Evidence, no planning. And then look, not so long ago we reported the controversial Superintendent Romana, Marbin at Soku there. There's the same officer who arrested the lawyer, Tamika Clark, because she advised her client to remain silent. He was moved from Soku and sent as a second in command at traffic, deputy traffic chief. It was reported by one of their mouthpieces that on the 1st of September, Romana was going to take over as traffic chief. I don't know if they were getting rid of the traffic chief altogether, or if he was proceeding on leave and then he would have been holding on. They did not say. And last week, the same Romana now has been moved to C Division, which is Covanjan Regional Division 4C. Those are examples of an organization that is being improperly led, organization in disarray. How can you be moving 1 week, the man gone there? No planning. And in the case of the Winter that I'm talking about, in the public service, in the police in particular, you get a letter at least 1 year before you are due to retire. It tells you when you're going to retire, how many days leave you're going to get, and all of that. So the people at admin will know that this man is going into retirement at a particular time. Or you want to tell me no planning? So that the man reached to the stage where he's off the job. This is not a case, as I said, where he is proceeding on leave. He was paid in lieu of leave. So on that day, he was off the job completely, as Ikin should have been from the 1st of August. Off the job completely. No planning. They sent a man hurriedly we spoke about it on this program. And then they hurriedly sent a man from Madja to take over. And in about a week's time, the man from Madja was moved from there to another location. Another man went there and took over. You got the Romana situation now, moved from Soku, traffic. And this is significant because at Soku is a civilian clothes, a detective, Antoine, he's there, fine uniform, traffic. report that he's going to be taking over traffic from the 1st of September. This is still August. The man moved from there now. He gone to East Coast. When Starbucks News reporting that when they question him and they ask him about something, he tell them they should ask the acting, the man who is squatting in the chair of the commissioner. Those are examples that things are not going well. And they can attack the messengers as much as they want. They can attack me, they can attack Mr. Conway and other people who are speaking out about these things. But the evidence is there. It is clearly showing that the people who are put to manage the system there, and they don't know what to do. And I'm not going to talk here now about the Indianization of the police command. That is another subject. I spoke about that a few weeks ago at the Coffee 250, the Indianization of the police command. There is clear and compelling evidence that the management of the force is in total and absolute disarray. The man who is squatting in the chair and getting a clue what is going on. The man at Home Affairs, even though these, well, let me put it this way, very carefully, I'm going to be very selective in what I say. The law is clear. That is not the purview of the minister, because those are operational matters. That's not a policy position, which commander goes where, and that's a commissioner of police. As it is now, the man who is squatting in that chair. And the fact that you have all of these disruptions, all of these movements all over the place is clear indication that they know what's going on. The people are sailing, and they will attack us for saying that they're sailing. But they should be working at the Transport and Harbors Department. There's where the steamers operate from. They should be operating some water taxi. They're sailing. They're sailing. How can you justify those actions? How can you? Mr. Conway, how can you justify those rapid movements?
Let me start from the top, Paul. Now, according to the establishment of the Ghana Police Force, there should be 4 deputy commissioners. Deputy Commissioner Admin, Deputy Commissioner Operation, Deputy Commissioner the Special Branch, Deputy Commissioner Crime. You know of one Deputy Commissioner, Dr. Paul Williams, and he is out of the force. He's in the Civil Defense Commission doing what I don't know. So if you put him aside, if he holds on one position, there is vacancy for 3 other deputy commissioners. Plus, there's a vacancy for a confirmed commissioner of police. The president said when he traveled overseas, he getting high praises of the work the police are doing. So what happened? And I'm not batting for anybody here. What happened to those vacancies for the 3 deputy commissioners? We get Budra masquerading as a deputy commissioner. We got the crime chief Blanham masquerading as a deputy commissioner. We got Karen Bash at times masquerading as a deputy commissioner. And we got the man at admin masquerading as a deputy commissioner. The appointment of a deputy commissioner or commissioner, all the president has to do is to have meaningful consultation, I said it before, with the leader of the opposition and the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who would have consulted with other members. So if the vacancy is there and these men are performing so outstandingly, why they got to be masquerading? They are assistant commissioners and they're masquerading as deputy commissioners. The press writing deputy commissioner admin, deputy commissioner ops, and nobody has got the guts enough to tell the press, hey, I'm an assistant commissioner. Don't refer to me as no acting or no confirmed deputy commissioner. Perhaps the president isn't satisfied with their performance, so he ain't giving them nothing. He ain't giving them nothing. You know, the whole thing starting from the top there. People are masquerading. And when I say as they ain't give me nothing, I just fall in and cover them. And perhaps there's where some of the problem lies.
Well, yes, and you know, a next thing that I've observed is that people are now being rewarded for poor performance. People are being rewarded. The people, so you got a case where, in the case of Ramana, Instead of being disciplined, this is a man who arrests an attorney unlawfully, unconstitutionally. The courts have so held. The Chief Justice made that ruling. Instead of facing any disciplinary action, the man is actually being rewarded for his incompetence and unprofessional conduct. So he's moved and he's a divisional commander. I want that to sink in. A man who arrests a lawyer for advising our client to remain silent. The client took the matter to the court. The court ruled that he acted unlawfully and unconstitutionally. The court is yet to decide on the quantum of damages to be awarded. And this is the man who is now moved to take over a police division. The man is moved to take over a police division. And I want you to understand that. People with disciplinary matters are being promoted. People who have not passed the appropriate qualifying examinations as set out in Standing Order 22 are being promoted. So that's why we're saying the thing is dysfunctional. That is why we're saying the thing is dysfunctional. But let me move on. You know, not a day passes without some joke from these people. I read, we talk about fatal fires, you know, and the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson, you know, in Parliament, they'll call him honorable and all of that. Not me, because there's nothing honorable about these people. So, Robeson is reported to have said, and according to the Minister of Home Affairs, a total of 44 persons have been killed by fire so far in 2023. 44 persons have been killed. They're saying in 2022, a total of 9 persons lost their lives by fire. Understand this. 44 this year as against 9. 44 up to this point in this year as against 9 last year. That is what it's saying. And here what the minister says. The minister says here, let me quote you. The minister is reported to have said, the Madja Secondary School fire that claimed the lives of 20 children, including a 5-year-old boy, is one of the primary reasons for the increasing deaths. Well, let me do some sums. This is not much. Let me do some sums. You got 44. You have 20 deaths in the fire. So you take out the 20. My sums tell me that's 24 remaining. So let's compare the 24 to the 9 for last year. And you want to tell me that this is as a result of the Madja fire? These people are delusional where they live. Because even if you were to take out the 20 persons who lost their lives in the Madja fire, it's 24 persons compared to 9 for last year. So it's still an exponential increase. So I don't know what the minister is saying. And he goes on to say, he said the majority of the fires were maliciously set. So in arson, which is not considered a serious crime, arson, which is not considered a serious crime. So he said the majority of fires were maliciously set or caused as a result of malfunctioning of the malfunction of age-old electrical systems. And then he said we are emphasizing again the need for people to put in homes smoke alarms and fire detector. And I would, before I invite Mr. Connery, I would say to the minister that if that is a problem where there's a need for fire alarm, smoke detector, whatever you want to call it, all you have to do, I believe, I would recommend that the minister that smoke detectors should be provided to households. That should be a program. You know, yourself, because we care, and you're giving a little $10,000 and a $40,000. If fires are such a big problem, then provide households with a smoke detector. And I did the check. The regular smoke detector on Amazon is like about $12 US. It's about $12 US. So I think you can afford that. So that is what you have to contend with, Minister. CC, do you want to make any comment on that?
Yeah, what they're doing, Paul, they're just bluffing the nation, with figures. The thing is, and bluffing has a two-sided effect. It's either you succeed gloriously or you fail miserably. And they on the side where they be feeling, How you can And if even with the moderate too, they're blaming the moderate had gone up due to the fire, due to the fire they had at Marjorie. They're trying all kind of things to look good when they don't have the stats, they don't have the data to back up that they're looking good. And all they're causing the public to lose confidence in again the police force because they're not credible. Anything they give you, you got to analyze it in depth because they're bluffing and they're bluffing and they're bluffing all the time.
They are bluffing and they are bluffing and they are bluffing all the time. But let me move on. As I said, we have a lot of subjects to go. Let me just say, Carol and those persons, share the life. Don't bother with them. Are they in the mood this morning? Once they come and they're disrespectful, it's a block. Once they come and they're disrespectful and who sucking what and all this other thing, it's a block. I'm not tolerating the type of disrespect to either any one of us or any one of the viewers this morning. So once they come, it's a block. And I'm done with them, as you would have seen. Block and delete. So I ain't wasting time with them. And it's not to say that we're not encouraging people to make comment. Make some objective comments. But when you're going to come and report to people and use profanities and so on, out you go. I have no apologies for that. This is not a democracy. This program speaking out is not a democracy, right? If you want a democracy, establish your own podcast, and then you can do whatever you want with it. But let me move on. And we move to the Madhya Commission of Inquiry. Oh boy, the Madhya Commission of Inquiry. I don't think I need to repeat what happened at Madhya. Suffice to say that 20 children lost their lives. And after a long delay and a lot of salawala, as we in the country would say, the Commission of Inquiry was sworn in sometime last week. And if you recall, I made the observation that where is it? Hold on. Even return. I made the observation that the minister. Look. You remember this here? I asked the question. This was a commission of inquiry and sworn in by the acting chief magistrate, and of course the president used the opportunity to get a photo up. He had nothing to do with swearing in. The man to the extreme left, I understand now, is the secretary. Then you have Major General retired Joe Singh. You have the acting chief magistrate who did the swearing in, the president in the middle. To the president left is Attorney Kinkite Thomas. And then the other man is from the American People Association, as a member of the Commission of Inquiry. And then you have the Minister of Education. And I asked the question then, what was the Minister of Education doing at the swearing in of the Madhya Commission of Inquiry when she is likely to be a prime witness in this thing? But that is what goes on. And then what happened? We were talking about the terms of reference, right? And it was published eventually. I'm going to show you classes in session. The terms of reference, I checked it out yesterday on the official gazette. Let me bring in Conway. The terms of reference, and let me go through it with you so you can see the terms of reference. To inquire into and report on the events and circumstances leading up to and causes of the Madhya dormitory fire on the night of the 20th of May, 2023. That's the first terms. Then the second one says, inquire into and report upon the actions taken to provide swift care, medical attention, and other forms of support and assistance to the injured and their families, and to the families and relatives of the deceased. Well, I find this one very strange. This is the one where they're going to get a little, they're looking for buttering up. Oh, we give them this and we give them that. This is a buttering up one. That's nothing really to do with the actual cause of the fire and the response to the fire itself. So this is a buttering up clause. And then the third clause, the third term, makes such recommendations and observations as the commission may deem fit, including such measures and actions that the commission may consider necessary and appropriate to prevent the recurrence of such tragedy. So those are the three terms. They have 2 months to, and you still get classes, say 2 months or such other time, the usual thing that the president may decide. So basically what they're saying, they get 2 months, but they can have extension in this thing. And yesterday, there was a press conference hosted by the secretary to the COI. And he made some, to me, what is to me, some startling revelation. One of the things the secretary said is that the terms of reference were created by the attorney general and the president. That is what he said. I couldn't believe, I had to think, he said the president and the attorney general put together the terms of reference. And then perhaps the worst part for me, let me look for it and find it. The worst part for me is that it was revealed that attorney Keoma, overpronouncing it right, Keoma Griffith, it was revealed that attorney Keoma Griffith is the counsel. In other words, he's a lawyer to this commission of inquiry. I have to back the note because I remember when the compensation, or what they call the financial assistance, was paid to the relatives of those who died. Remember, they get $5 million Ghana, and the ones who were injured get $3 million. The report said, and this was something that was done secretly until Stabrook News revealed. The report said that the agreement was witnessed by Shoshona Lal of the Attorney General's Chambers and Keoma Griffith, who comes from a South Road law office. That's what the report said. A Keoma Griffith that comes from a South Road law office. Now, with the same Keoma Griffith now is a counsel to the Commission of Inquiry. And I have to ask, isn't that a conflict of interest? He witnessed on behalf of the relatives and of the people who died and those who were injured. And the same person now is the counsel to the commission. That is not a real place. Isn't that a clear conflict of interest? You represented the people them now, and you get a commission to inquire into what happened and all of that. And he is there as a counsel to this commission. And let me say this. I said, I made a note that the members of the commission, Major General retired Joe Singh, attorney Kim Kai Thomas, and this next guy, I don't really know his name, they would have had nothing to do with the identity, I think so, or with the selection of the counsel to the commission. In other words, they would have learned that apparently yesterday, when the thing was raised, even the secretary seemed to be surprised. But I am saying that if they want to maintain their credibility and the credibility of the Commission of Inquiry, they should immediately demand that this Keoma Griffith be removed and have nothing to do with the Commission of Inquiry. Have nothing to do. Because again, I say, how can you? That's a clear conflict. He was there more representing. I understand he had a bigger role to play in that. Representing the persons who are injured and those who died. Representing those persons. Agreeing to this $5 million, whatever they want to call it, and the $3 million. And now this man is a counsel, and a counsel to the commission is a key person. He's a counsel to the commission. Yes, thank you, Commissioner Cole. Mr. Derek John from the Tushau Council is the third member of the Commission of Inquiry. Guyana cannot be a real place. Guyana cannot be a real place. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to make his comments on this. CC, what are your views? This attorney who was there, he signed on behalf of these people, and now he is the counsel to the commission?
He has no place there at all. He should be nowhere there to that be, because he has been representing the people them. Perhaps he has been mentoring them. He has been coaching them. So it's a clear case of conflict of interest. And then to say, I want to say that I have the greatest respect for retired Major General Norman and Major Joseph Singh and Elisa Norman McLean. The greatest respect for him, and also I have a lot of respect for Kim Kite John. But I think they're giving them basket to fetch water to be a duck that's swimming in a pond. forcing the council is compromise. And then and I want to never heard you clearly because I didn't see the press conference that the attorney general and the president created the terms of reference.
That is what I heard the man say. I hope I hear wrong. I was perusing the news this morning to see if anybody reported in that part. I haven't seen any such report, but that is what I'm sure I heard the secretary said yesterday, and I was taken aback.
And the, if and then the president, I heard it from the president saying that the members of the commission would have would have been engaged in helping to put the terms of reference together. Although I thoroughly disagree with that. For us, maybe he had a change of heart, a change of mind. The whole thing appeared to be a compromise. Even we mentioned a couple of sessions ago the old crime scene. There's no crime scene. I wonder what they're going to say, what they're going to discover, or just go to Carisparrow and all those places and talk to people and that's it. I'm not I'm not or not feeling that justice will be done. Although I have great regards for the members of the commission, that really justice will be done in terms of this inquiry. But hope that I'm proved wrong.
Well, and as you talk about what they're going to see, I understand from the news that today, Wednesday, they are visiting the area. They are visiting Maja and the surrounding villages. And some people have said they don't know what they're visiting for because the debris was removed and it used to fill potholes in the area. So I really don't know. But they're visiting today. There's according to the report. They're visiting Maja and the areas from which these children came from. That is what is being reported. And I said this. I join you to say that I have the highest respect for Major General retired Joe Singh, for Kim Kite Thomas. I think you misquoted her name. You missaid her name a while ago. I don't know the third person, but I have the highest regards for those two persons. I'm saying because of that, if they don't want to be tainted, if they don't want to lose credibility, they should insist that this Kioma Griffith, who clearly has a conflict of interest, should be removed from the inquiry, COI, lest they be tainted by his presence there. They should insist. They should insist because, as I said, I have a suspicion that they had nothing to do with the selection of the council to the COI. I don't think they had anything to do with it because I don't think if they had anything to do with it, they would have recommended or they would have agreed to a man who was clearly there working with the family during the course of this compensation and whatever they call it. He's now the counsel on the commission. And as you rightly said, he should have nothing to do with the COI, except if he has to be there to give evidence as a witness. He should have anything to be the counsel of this commission. So something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely wrong. And I say, I hope Major General retired Joe Singh and attorney Dr. Kim Kite Thomas will look into that because their credibility and the credibility of the COI that they are members are at stake. And I don't think they want to be tainted by something like that. I don't think they want to be tainted. But let me move on. Now, I think what time? We are 1.5 hours already. A lot of time really flies. And again, share the live, share the live. A lot of people come on. I did promise to big up some people as we go along. A lot of people join. And Petal is here. Umo. We have lots of people came in. The little one is here. Umo. Ian is here and so on. And Commissioner Cole, welcome, Commissioner Cole. Bonita is here. Carol is here as well. And so many others, so true Hector, Emily. Share the live, share the live. We have a few more things to discuss. we have a few more things to discuss. And let me move straight into the next subject, which is really um this is what, yeah, yesterday, I try to keep up to date with the news. Yesterday, the Minister of Home Affairs again, and they said they're talking about the guns, too many guns. I wrote an article, a letter to the press some months ago. It was captioned, "Too many guns in the tongue." It's on my webpage, my social media page. Yeah, I can go and look at it. Too many guns in the tongue. That was Byron Lee. Well, it was Spice, I think, first, and then Byron Lee sang it over. He said, and I can read excerpts of this thing from the minister. They said, confronted with an alarming increase in gun-related crimes, law enforcement agencies plan to intensify their campaign to rid the streets of illegal firearms, according to the Home Affairs Minister. And then Minister Ben is quoted as saying further that in addition to conducting random searches, the police force has been continuously receiving intelligence on illegal weapons, including those coming through the country's porous borders. Now, I thought I'd have to educate the young ranks and so on. This statement by the minister, allegedly made by the minister, that in addition to conducting random searches, Minister, what is a random search? Do you not know that a random search is illegal? A random search is illegal. Police have to have, and again, I posted over the weekend the police powers of arrest. And I did some research and I came up with a matter which back in, what was the year? Some years ago, where this thing about searching came up. So here it is. The Minister of Home Affairs, when he speaks about random searches, is actually encouraging the police to break the law. You can't search randomly. You can't search. There was a case with in which the judge was Mr. William Ramlal. The person who sued the police is the now judge, Navendra Singh. He was a practicing attorney at the time. Police stopped him somewhere in Charlotte Street. He had an issue with the car. He stopped. Police tell he blocking the traffic. He obstructing the traffic. And then the thing escalated. From that, he moved to Crowell Street or somewhere like that. Police pulled over the car. He ended up in Brickdam. They gave him several charges and so on. Charges were all dismissed. And then he sued the police. And the judge in that case was Mr. Justice William Ramlal, who is now the Complaints Authority. And he made it's interesting reading for these policemen who are around, because you're going to be sent there to do things and you're going to do the wrong thing, you're going to end up getting in trouble. And when you get into trouble, they're going to throw you under the bus. Ulrich, you're correct. You have to have reasonable suspicion. But hear what Justice Ramlal in his ruling said. He said, in his judgment, the court said that its research of the Police Act found that ranks may also stop, search, and detain any person who may be reasonably suspected of having or conveying in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained. There's the Police Act. The instances must contemplate a situation where an offense has already been committed. And then he goes on to say, and he's quoted here, say, let me say at the outset that the police have no power to stop, search, arrest, and detain any citizen under Section 17 or Section 19 unless he has reasonable grounds for suspicion. He must have reasonable grounds for suspicion that he will find stolen or prohibited articles, or that he has reasonable grounds to suspect that a person whom he reasonably suspects has committed an indictable offense will be found, or that any person has committed a summary or indictable offense in his view or presence, or he has credible and reliable information from someone that a person has committed a summary or indictable offense. That is the ruling. It is there, and your people are not reading. I want to know if the minister has any legal person advising him. He goes out and he makes this statement about what you call it here? Random searches. Now, random search, as I said, is illegal. You have to have reasonable suspicion to search. And the fact that you're saying it is random means that you don't have any reasonable suspicion. You just decide, well, here, this man, we can pull in and we can search. That cannot be, well, it is wrong. It is wrong. This stop and search and this thing, random search, it is illegal. The courts have so ruled. And again, I invite you to go back to Justice Ramlal's seminal ruling. And you know what we thought that, and they say, and the article started by saying that a groundbreaking High Court ruling on a judgment of over 2 million may very well see the Guyana police force revisiting the manner in which they conduct business on the roadways. That is what it started out by saying. But here you have in 2023, the incident took place way back in 2013, I think it was, right? No, sorry, since 2006. 2006, this took place, but the ruling was finally handed down in 2013. And one would have thought that things like these, they would have had instruction classes, publication in force orders, guiding the policemen how they should conduct themselves in the road. But no, you have a minister telling people that they must now engage in illegality by conducting random searches. And then when you're going to do random searches, right there is profiling again. One set of people, the usual suspects, will be profiled. Again, I want to make the point that, yeah, I agree that something must be done, but you have to do what you have to do within the scope of the law. You can't be telling policemen they must break the law to enforce the law. Where are we living? Mr. Conway, please have your say on this.
The law is clear. Yeah? Reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion before you do your searches. And it's different from the American. The American, I think, has a stronger words. They talk about probable cause, but we're dealing with reasonable suspicion. And I remember that Ramlal case, and the surprising thing that the government didn't, or the police didn't appeal it. They just left it like that. And although I know it is right that you have a reasonable suspicion, and that is your authority, that before you think the suspicion must precede the arrest or the search.
The
It must
action,
come.
exactly.
It must come before. Huh? And that's what we used to teach recruits. We used to teach. I don't know what's going on now. We used to teach recruits. We used to embed that into recruits. Reasonable suspicion, and those are the key words before you do anything, before you make an arrest or before you carry out a search. And another day we're going to talk about searches.
Yeah, well, CC, you say you're not, you don't know why they didn't appeal, but worse than that, when I was reading and doing the research, I found that when the matter was tried before Justice Ramlal, the lawyer, Mr. Singh, went into the box and he gave his evidence as to what actually transpired. And he was not even cross-examined. They
Okay.
refused or they declined to cross-examine him. So it's not only
Okay.
they did not appeal, they did not even cross-examine. So basically, the story that was told by him was accepted
Yeah. So
by
they
the
had
police,
so
by
they
the
had no,
state,
they had no grounds for appeal.
had no grounds, had no grounds. And again, I say I would have thought that matters like these, people at the training institution, people involved in this type of thing would pull this thing together, get help from maybe the DPP's chambers. You got a police legal advisor. You have so many legal people in the force, people who they say are admitted to the bar to practice law. They should be able to devise some training and to educate and to advise the policemen how they should go about conducting their duties. But here it is. You have the minister saying that they are going to be doing, in addition to conducting random searches, um, and again, when we talk about random searches, one has to ask, are you going to search individuals? You're going to search motor vehicles? you're going to search property, you're going to search people's dwelling randomly. That is what you're suggesting, Minister. I believe it's time that the man who's squatting and the minister, who both have proven that they're really out of their depths, to do the good thing, man. Go thy way in peace. Go thy way in peace, because it is clear that you guys don't have a clue how to deal with the situation. The first thing, you're in a state of denial. As is what the 50-something state, Mr. Kane, all let me bring in, the
The
state of
54 state, I remember O.J. Simpson matter, where Johnny Cochran said that the weaknesses in the 54th state, a state of denial. Remember Puerto Rico applied to become the 54th state and Puerto Rico was denied. So Johnny Cochran saying in the 54th state, a state of denial.
well, they are in that same state. They are in that same state, a state of denial, because they will tell you, including the president, oh, that crimes, the figures are down. And although the figures are down, the World of Statistics reporting for 2022 tell you the seventh highest crime rate in the world. Then the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry issuing a statement saying how the crime situation is so bad. And then you have the U.S. Embassy issuing a level 3 advisory, telling their citizens not to travel to Guyana. And hear this. So when you believe that they can come and they mechanize, the U.S. and the Chamber of Commerce actually doubling down, because they had a meeting last week. And the ambassador compliment the Chamber of Commerce for making the statement about the situation in the country in terms of safety and security. So they are in a state, when we talk, they're gonna come and they're gonna say us other thing. They're gonna send out the surrogates for come and make all sort of foolish comments. Wonder what they have not commented on the statement by the U.S. ambassador as yet. They have not commented on that statement, and therefore I'm reminded of old people say, monkey know what limb he does jump on. Old people say monkey know what limb he does jump on. So while they're going to jump on Slow and Conway and these two geriatrics and make all kind of derogatory remark, they come on the live, they're using expletives and all sort of thing, they are not going to say anything to, well, maybe they can, because remember, a former U.S. ambassador to get the federal blast. I gotten the federal blast from the from a minister of the government. So maybe this ambassador will get a federal blast as well. See?
So true, Paul.
Yeah, let's move on. The last issue I want us to deal with quickly. As I was preparing for this program, I felt up to yesterday, I said, well, at least this week, we don't have any fatal accidents, and I will praise those who are responsible for going a whole week without fatal accident. But oops, yesterday, I read in 74-year-old man, right, crushed to death after falling onto the roadway. He fall onto the roadway at Lenore. Some story there where he going into a car, maybe he fell, a minibus run over and kill him. Given the circumstances of that one, CC, one can very well expect that is not a fatal accident, even though the car on the road, that got to be an incident. What do you say?
I wouldn't be surprised, because they don't say the man been by some door and then he fall along and into the part of the moving vehicle, and I would be surprised if there's a fatal incident, Paul. But Paul, if we just go back a little bit to the minister talked about guns and restrictions of guns and too much of guns about the place, and he even talk about the guns being issued unlawfully when Cambridge Ramjatan was the Minister of Home Affairs. But you can't talk about Ramjatan alone. You got to talk about when Guy George was Minister of Home Affairs. A, a, a whole set of guns were given to people. You go and you buy a, a fridge and donate it to the police, you get a firearm. You buy a bed and you get a firearm. You go and donate some money to Home Affairs and you get the money. Maybe the most guns that were given out without authority or approval, without any justification, was when Gajraj was Home Affairs Minister. And they had the inquiry, Discipline Service Commission inquiry, and he was questioned about it, about all the list that he used to send to the Commissioner McDonald and say you want approval, and then you used to get approval. And then when they question what it, remember Axel Williams, where you upgraded a bounty hunter, gone from a 2 to a 9 and those things. All those are in gadget. They say it wasn't that bad, but they dead. But then you got to face reality that the most guns approval given in those days, you didn't have a firearm board. The given was when Gadraj was Minister of Home Affairs, and you go and donate something to the police at the Home Affairs Ministry, and you get it. And when Gadraj give his testimony, and the man who's squatting will listen to this. He said when I tell him about all the illegal orders he gave to McDonald Commissioner, he said Commissioner McDonald should have been guided by the Constitution and his conscience. Full stop. He threw McDonald under the bus. So though the minister mustn't talk about Ramjatan alone, and he must talk about his present system, where the approval to get guns is a multi-million, maybe it's a billion, multi-billion-dollar now enterprise now, starting with 1 point something Michaels through Chief Chanjapal Drive, as a Young Street, as a house in Rob Street, as a building northwest of Brickdown Police Station, and now there is a building and there is a doctor in Lamaha Street that is integrally engaged in the issuing of firearm license.
Yeah, well, let me read it. Thanks for reminding us about that part. Well, let me read for our viewers what is reported in the media. He said here in the same thing when he talk about law enforcement agencies to intensify crackdown on firearms. He said, I'm citing a recent murder-suicide case involving a licensed firearm holder. The Home Affairs Minister said his ministry will also be clamping down on the demand for gun license. Well, I would like to know how the minister can clamp down for the demand. This man is a crazy man. The minister is going to clamp down on the demand for gun license. And then he's quoted there saying, we are working hard to prevent or to moderate the demand for firearms. We are surprised from an earlier period that firearms were issued, and we are not sure of the proper credential of those persons who receive those firearms. That is what he said. Then he goes on to say, according to the release, he said a review is being done to assess the manner in which licenses were issued under the previous government. He wants to also push for some legislative changes to better guide the licensing process. Further, he says, so that's what we are doing with the overall strategy. We have a team which has been working in respect of an overall question of firearm use, tracking, and also in respect to training of persons who are legally qualified, who have a firearm license. We want them to be trained, and we're looking at the issue of legislation to bring about that in a more formal way. That is what the minister is quoted as saying. And as he rightly pointed out, if you want to talk about previous, he said the previous administration, and perhaps we are assuming that he means the immediate past administration, but we should make them assumptions. He might very well be speaking about the administration where you had Minister Gadraj, you had Minister Roy, they were there before. Even Teixeira was there as Home Affairs Minister. Sam Hines, they were all there. So maybe, but I could tell you from experience that what Gadraj used to do, as we said, normally at those times we hadn't the, as I said, firearm board. An application was made. The divisional commander will do the investigation, send it with a recommendation to the commissioner. It goes to a lot of places, special branch, CID headquarters to check all over. Then at the end of the day, a decision is made as to whether the person is given a firearm license or not. And I did some research on this thing, The law, I don't know, at the time, the law says nothing about commissioner of police, the law says nothing about Minister of Home Affairs, the Firearms Act. Nothing, right? It was a decision of the divisional commander. That was what the law says. But you know, the thing went to the commissioner, and then eventually it reached to the Minister of Home Affairs. In Gajraj's time, when approvals were given, the approvals could not have been sent to the applicant. The approvals had to be sent to the Minister Gajraj. And then he would send out for the applicants to go to his office to collect the approval letter. Guys there. So you know when they got to the office to collect the approval letter, what you sorting? Things used to play out. Things used to play out. They might change the system. Do not send the applications directly to the applicant. So if you go through and you recommend that, yeah, this man must get a firearm, the instructions to the commissioner and them were that, look, do not send it to the applicant to tell them, yes, you have your approval, send the approval letter. Send it to the Ministry of Home Affairs. And then the Ministry of Home Affairs will send out and call these people to tell them, say, yeah, come to the Ministry of Home Affairs and collect your approval. So I don't know what Ben talking about. I don't know what Ben is talking about. And as a man say, I'm going to put it up, a man say, ask me about it because the man was integral in the system when McDonald was the commissioner. Integral in the system. So I don't know really what Minister Ben is talking about. He pointing fingers. And right now, as CC said, run-ins, big time run-ins. And you know, let me say this before I forget. If he wants to really make a noise, let them give us statistics. Give us a breakdown. How many firearm licenses were issued by years? To whom these things were issued? What type of firearms were issued? Whether it's a shotgun, whether it's a rifle, whether it's an assault rifle, whether it's a pistol, whether it's a revolver. If you really want to point fingers, come with the stats. Don't just throw shades just like that. Come with the statistics so that reasonable and intelligent persons can analyze and make their own assessment. I challenge the minister, I challenge the government to provide those figures. Again, maybe past 10 years. Let's go back to the past 10 years and let the public know how many firearm licenses were issued during that period of time. To whom they were issued, you might not want to put name. You don't want to put name. But so many shotguns were issued, so many rifles were issued, so many assault rifles, so many revolvers, so many pistols. Come there. And then when you do that, tell us the calibers that were issued. That is going to be revealing. I know that. That is going to be revealing. For you to see who get all sorts of fancy caliber pistols, 45 pistol, 45 caliber pistol, and all that time. You will see the multiple firearms that some people have. When I had me running with Gajraj and Gajraj and Jagdeo, the man who was the subject of the thing, the man had like about 6 firearms. 6 firearms the one person had. So I don't know what this minister is talking about. And he's talking about training. Yeah, we have said it here right on this program. Training is vital. But you can't wait until the people don't get the firearm to say you're going to train. Training should be a prerequisite to them being issued with the license. But they're going backward. And I made the point here that when we talk about training, we only talk about civilians. We're talking about policemen and private security persons who are running around the place with country people with say long guns. It will be interesting to know the level of training those persons have. It might surprise you to know that them people and get run around the place, very little training they have. And yeah, Dennis, age group. Let me know the age group of people who get in these firearms too. So if a man get a pistol, what is his age when he was granted the pistol license? What is his occupation? What was the claim occupation? And I saw recently they're making big noise. They arrest an indigenous man in the interior with some shotgun or some old shotgun. Yeah, for however long those persons have shotgun, either legal or illegal, because many of them need it and they want to provide food for the village and the family. So they're making and the thing making big. And remember, as we have said, CC, that the unlawful possession of arms and ammunition, according to them, It is not recorded as a serious crime. So I don't know what big noise they're making. Yeah, Sean, it's a detailed thing, I can help them with the matrix, the type of firearm, the caliber of firearm, the age of the person, the occupation of the person, the region from which this person comes. Yeah, let me get disaggregated information so we can get a true picture of what is going on. All those with multiple, some people get 4 or 5 individuals, I'm not talking about companies and businesses, security companies and businesses. We're talking about individuals with 3, 4, 5 firearm license to them. That is what we're talking about. So if the minister want to talk about this thing, he want point finger, he pointing one, about 4 pointed back at him. CC, your closing remarks, my brother.
All right, let me just add to the firearm story. I can talk from a position of strength. I was a senior superintendent, and I was commander of region 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we have individual commanders. And when during the Gadrach era, you know that divisional commanders used to submit a report and the commissioner will give his approval, or a list, several lists from Gadrach to the commissioner and approval. And persons who got approval, apart from those who were residing in a division, division B, C, D, and I mentioned E, G, E, D, F. Those persons, when they got their approval, they had to go to Commander ENF, which was me, for me to sign the force license, to issue the force license. And I used to question them. And Paul, the majority, over, as far as I'm concerned, over 90% of them did not have a just claim to be issued with a firearm license. But they go to Brickdam and they pay up the stuff and they get the firearm license. I can say so without fear of successful contradiction that they come with a list from Home Affairs, the approval letter from Home Affairs, which was signed by the Commissioner of Police, as you mentioned, that the list had to. I, as Commander ENF Division, had to write or the force license, and then they go to the various divisions and they got license the divisions afterwards. So the nonsense that Ben is, and apart from that too, the squatter said something last year or early this year that those persons who got firearms license for the first time will have to go through a 3 weeks training program. A 3 weeks training program. I think that is in place. So the whole thing about firearm, is pure corruption, and is maybe $1 billion successful enterprise, and it is flourishing. It is flourishing. And there's where I want to close off.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Thank you. And let me say this in terms of the same firearm. I mean, we talk about training. I remember some years ago, I working in one of the islands in the Caribbean, and the guys with whom I was working got to realize that I shoot man and know about guns and so on. So they took me to one indoor range at night to really test my skills, because I told them they can't test me. So they took me to this range. And do you know that even though a man with me with all my credentials in rifle shooting and pistol shooting and being an instructor, they didn't accept that. I had to sit down in a class for about an hour and go through all the basics for them to satisfy themselves that I knew how to use a pistol. And then they took me into the range. When they took me to the range, we had some laugh there, because when they took me, I think about 5 yards or something. I tell them, say, well, buddy, there's no way I shoot in a 9mm pistol from 5 yards. No, too close. Let me start at 10. And then I convinced them, and now you move back and so on. So you have to have the training before. You have to have the training before. And again, I want to challenge the minister and by extension the government and the man who is squatting in the chair. Produce the disaggregated statistics about firearms in the country. Because I did write a letter too, in that same letter that I referred to too many guns in the tongue, I did the research to show you that per capita, Guyana has one of the largest among, I can't remember number there now, but it's there on my page, folks. If you're going to read it, the letter is titled Too Many Guns in the Tongue. It has I think, a very high figure, very high percentage of the Guyanese population is armed. Today we talk about legal firearms. We are talking about illegal firearms. So yeah, there's an issue that Minister Ben raised. Let me challenge them to follow it up. Challenge them to follow it up. Folks, some of you have been saying that it is time for us to have more programs during the week. The students are not satisfied with this one day class. We are considering it. That's all I could say at this stage. We are considering perhaps increasing the frequency of your class, and we got to reach out to you for you to suggest dates. If we can go up to 2 or so on, perhaps in the next couple of months. We don't know, but we are going to look at it, and we want your input. So let us know what you think the best. If you decide to go 2 days a week, what those days should be. And I would tell you that we would want to stick to our Wednesday, and perhaps we can recommend another day, and we can work to see if we have the time. Everybody's saying very good idea. Here you are. Here these students, you all want to come in the classroom only to play marble and upscotch and so on. All of them coming out there. Very good idea. Very good idea. But we got to consider it. We are trying to improve all the time, notwithstanding what all the naysayers would say, because we know we bring you credible information. We know that we teach a lot. People have reached out. People have been reaching out continuously to say, Chief, I learned so much on this program. And now that I've said we have excerpts on YouTube, people going and people seeing. Only 2 days, less than 48 hours ago, I put something up there on the powers of arrest, police powers of arrest. Thousands of persons have already viewed it and made comments. Thousands. So we don't bother with them. I want to end by telling you folks again, if you see it in the news, dengue is rampant in Guyana. This is not being, I ain't trying to hype or to scare you. Dengue fever is rampant, and therefore you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of make sure that your surroundings, because as I said last week, the World Health Organization said because of global warming and the atmosphere now being more conducive to the mosquito, the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the dengue fever, you need to make sure that your surroundings is clear. You need to make sure repellent, mosquito net, whatever you have to do to make sure that you're not bitten by those insects. So please, please, please stay safe. And God's willing, God's willing, next week we're gonna be here again at 11 o'clock on another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, stay good. Bye.